Hello and welcome to Buckman's Model Mania. Today I'm going to be working some more on the Eiffel Tower and we'll be doing stage 4 or part 4. Um, I only have this here to show. This is what when I talked to or when I requested from IXO a replacement, they call it a spanner. They actually just cut this part off of another pack and sent me this. I think that's pretty cool, and they sent it pretty quick when they did send it. I know it's been a couple of weeks since I built on the Eiffel Tower, but I really am happy about this. And then, interesting thing on the spanner, and I've already checked, it's not going to matter, is that this one here, come on, focus. This one here has a magnet in it. This one, the magnet has fallen out. Like I said, I've already checked. It is not going to matter because I should show you the back there where the magnet is not, because what I showed you there is the reason I know it's not going to be an issue. There's a nut already in there. I put one in there just to see if it would stay, and obviously it's staying. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that nut to get the spanner to get the nut started, and then I've got this, the Weehaw nut driver, to actually tighten them down. And the reason that I tried the Weehaw nut driver, messed with it a little bit. It does a little bit, not as badly, but it does a little bit the same as this was doing, where the nut will flop over to the side. Not as badly. So I can put torque on the nut driver where with this one here, I'm not going to put any torque whatsoever on there. I don't want to snap it off again. So in this pack, in pack 4 or part 4, we get 5 panels. And looking at the book, I had to do a little bit of reading to actually understand what has to happen with each one. And again, just like before, let me find the number on here on one of these. These are all numbered. They point that out in the book again. So there, I have A065, and that's important because they tell you which part goes where. This one is another 065. So that should be, both of these should be, hopefully, 070. And then we have a new part here that is 075. A little bit different shape or layout inside of it. So we also need, it says, it doesn't say how many, but I think it's about a dozen nuts and screws. Make sure I don't have any stuck inside there. The nuts come out a lot quicker, easier than the screws do. Just grab some screws instead, so I've got enough screws to go with the nuts. I did get a comment from Spider Sprue, who also built this, saying that he had lost some of the nuts like I just did. I lost one down there, kind of popped off. But he lost some of the nuts while he was building and did not run out. So since I did drop one just now, I'm going to see if I can find it real quick. So I'm going to pause the camera because I want to avoid any possibility of not having enough of these nuts. I'll be right back. Okay, I was actually able to find this thing, which it amazes me when I do things like that because it's insane how small these are. Okay, so the first thing I want you to do, that they always say, point out that there is a number on each one of these. You take one of the 70s, which is one of these, and you put it on between stringers 7 and 8. I looked earlier, it'd be nice if the numbers were up here. They are not. They are down here, which could get to be interesting when once the bottom goes on here. May have to do a flag on here or something to show which is which. But under here, I can see the 7 and the 8. So this one is going to go on here. Let's see, like this, I believe. However it goes in here, it's going to have to, the holes, yeah, that's not it. The holes are going to have to line up with the holes on the grid work, have to line up with the holes on the tower itself. That's got to be it, though. Looking at it. Oh, I see. I see what it is. When it lines up, just double check. I want to make sure it's correctly on here. I think the numbers actually, no, that only goes one way. Less. Okay, that's better. The narrow part goes to the top. I'm not sure if it points that out. Let me look at the book. Line the openings for the screws. Make sure that pieces are on top of one another. Okay. But the girders, looking at this, the girders for above are smaller than they are for the part down here. Let me look at something here. Let me see if I can zoom in on the page a little bit. Because I noticed something on it. It doesn't matter. It's the same on either side. The girders need to line up and look like they're solid. Oops. Doesn't say if it, I wish it did say where the number on the part actually goes. It's numbers right here. Numbers right here. If it would show in the picture or the description that the number goes towards me, it would make it just a little bit easier. And the key thing as well, and actually that looks perfect. It'll focus. There we go. Key thing as well, it's got to line up that way. And we only do the actual 2 bottom screws this time, at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and put those in, and hopefully they will hold it in place. Come on. Of course not, it's not going to hold it, it's going to fall out. It's trying to. And so we put the 2 screws in down there at the bottom. Use spanner and nuts to tighten the screws with the screwdriver. Okay. So this is where it gets interesting. Going across here, hitting, there we go. Trying to hit that screw while not knocking the part off. And of course, not bending the photo etch pieces. I'm going to see if I can get this one to go on here. I'm going to take one of these screws out before I drop one of them as well. So I'm going to lay it down like this. And there went the screw. It's a very interesting way to build a kit. Not a bad way. I understand why they did it the way they did. And that's not staying in place. So what I'm going to do is after I get this first one started, I will go ahead and my plan is I'm going to get the screws in, or get them on this one, get the first one in place. I'll pause the camera, come back after I get the other one in, show you how it looks, and then I'll come back. What I'll do is I'll put each of the nuts in place. And let me get this started so that I can think, because right now I'm concentrating on this. Okay, come on. You're not threading in, are you? Nope. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pause. I will come back after I have this one in place, and each one I will pause while I show you where the next piece goes, or I'll film when I show you where the next piece goes, come back after it's done, show you what it looks like, and move on to the next piece. So I will be back after I get this first couple of screws started. Okay, after I paused the camera and stopped trying to rush through this and rethought about it and put a clamp on there, it went pretty well. Interesting thing, both this one, the spanner, and the nut driver, what happens is this nuts, when you tighten them down a little bit, they get stuck. So I'm not sure yet. I may break out the 3-in-1 oil just so that they'll come loose a little bit easier. So let me, sorry, I am very sorry about that. I have had for a while a hoarse throat. So next one we're going to do, let's see. So we're going to do, the next one is going to be another 070 between 7 and 9. Let me see. This is 7. That was 8. So which one? Hang on. 7 and 8. So this one should be 9 over here. Okay, so we've got this one on here. Next one's going to go here. Same piece, 070. Again, it's going to have the wider part at the bottom. This time the number is going to be facing out. This is where it starts to get a little tricky because I can't access one side. So it's going to go on there, something like that. Something I noticed, there's the holes here and one up here, which is where the fiber optics are going to go. So let me go ahead and grab this with a clamp. Just pause the camera once I get this lined up. Okay, that's lined up. And then I'm going to get the screws and nuts on here, just one on each side on the bottom, and I'll be back. Sorry, I wasn't quite ready with where the mouse was at to pause. Okay, that one didn't go too badly. So we're going to do the next one, which is going to be between leg 9 and 10. on this side right here, and you can see what I just did. Matter of fact, the key thing from the lattice work, the lattice work needs to line up as much as possible. And this one has a half moon shape in the bottom of it. Should fit down over top of the nuts that are already in place there. Just looking, and it does on both sides. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this lined up most of the way. Notice, there we go. Wasn't lined up on both sides. And then I'm going to come up here, grab it with a clamp to hold it in place. I'll put the screw and the nut in. Let's see if I can get that on camera. Okay, you can see there the hole goes through on both sides. Again, one screw, one nut on the bottom corners. And we'll put those in and be right back. Okay, there's number 3. And I'm using a combination of the nut driver, the spanner, and a stick that's kind of sticky for small parts. Because as long as I can get the nut started, or at least close to started on the screw, it becomes a relatively simple process. I did try a little bit of oil on the on the nut driver. It's not really doing anything. So next one that we're going to do, and again, this one also has the half moon divots in it, is right here. And it is lined up right now, just like that. So then we're going to take clamp. And the clamp is only really to keep it in place. And the hardest part about this is figuring out which hole on this side to put the nut driver through, because you want it to be almost straight on. It leans a little bit, it's not completely perpendicular, but you want to figure out which hole to put on. See, like right here, it looks like it should be this one. It might be the one above it. But which hole you want to put the nut driver through to actually be able to thread the nut onto the screw. Let's see if we can do this one in a decent amount of time, not taking forever to get it in there. Of course, the first thing would be if the nut driver would grab a hold of the nut. And that's the problem, is it's so small. It's a little bit difficult at times to get the nut to line up into the socket. So instead, we're going to try this. We're going to put it on the end of the sticky blob there. We're going to put the screw in through here. And again, difficult to get my finger in there to where I can actually make sure that the screw goes flat on there. And there's the problem. These sticky sticks don't stick for very long. Let's try going in through here. Push it. That is so close. It's sitting on there. It's not threaded. I don't want to move anything. I have had somebody mention maybe you could glue the nuts, the panels. I don't think that would work. Come on, get on there. Almost, they're so close. And it's coming off. And see right now the magnetism between the two, between the screwdriver and the nut driver, is what's causing the issue. So let's try this again. That's actually what was holding the nut in place there, was the magnetism from the screwdriver. That fell off. I've noticed that the bigger one does not work as well as the smaller one. The smaller one actually goes a little bit inside the thread area. Like I said, the only thing I'm trying to do is get it to sit long enough on the screw to where I can get a little bit of a thread on there. Think, no, that's not got it. Come on. Maybe? Nope. Sorry, folks. I would pause, but I don't have a hand for that right now. Come on. That might have it in place where I need it. So once I can get the nut on there, tightening it down is not a big deal. The problem is these grab a hold then, because it's such a small opening there. There's that one. Let me pause while I do the other one, and I'll be right back. Okay, that is number 4. This was between, I'm looking at this because the next step, just double checking 10 and 8. So this is 10 and 8. Bring the page back up. Oops. So the last one we have to do on here, this goes between 10 and 8 like we just did, is this piece right here. I'm just looking, it can only go in one way. I'm looking at it. Okay, that looks right. I was looking at the picture and I was like, that doesn't look quite right. But what we're going to do here, interesting, is instead of doing the bottom, they're going to have us do this nuts, the screws and nuts up here at the top. I was going to say, kind of odd that we're doing the bottom of this one since we haven't done the top of the one below. So that's holding it in place. Looks kind of like that. I'm going to pause, get those two screws, the 2 screws and nuts in there, and then I'll come back. Okay, that's got the last one in place. Like I said, you can see here, there are no screws at the top of this panel or the bottom of this one, although they are staying pretty much in place because of the stiffness of the photo etch themselves, similar to these on the other sides. But that was 4 panels. And as I do these, I look at them, I'm like, I've got 4 more or 3 more legs to do. This could be a real pain in my behind. But I am enjoying it. And the final result is going to be awesome. I'm really looking forward to this. I do know there are some interesting parts to come. But that's all there is to do in part 4. Hope you're enjoying this. If you are, like, subscribe, leave a comment if you are if you're so inclined. I love comments. I will respond. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Have a great day. Have a great day tomorrow, and I will see you in the next video or stream.
Buckman's Model Mania, hard work models, plastic modeling, wooden models. Buckman's Model Mania, hard work models, plastic models.